So here we got the laws of logarithms. Do you even remember them, my friends? The first one actually is not law of logarithm. I just put it in there. But what do you do when you're adding two things same base? Well, you add the coefficients. You don't change the base. So if I had x squared plus 6x plus x squared minus 2x, you combine the x squares because they're the same base. They both have the same power. It'd be 2x squared. And 6x minus 2x is 4x. Now we get to a real law of logarithm, and it's what do you do when you multiply two things same base? Well, you add the powers. So if I said what is x to the 7 times x to the 10th, 7 x's multiplied to 10 more x's would be 17 x's. So if I have negative x to the 6, y to the 10th, and I multiply that to 4x to the 3rd y, you'd say negative times 4 is negative 4. X to the 6 times x cubed is x to the 9th. Y to the 10th, y would be y the 11th. The third law of logarithm. What do you do when you have a base raised to a power and you raise it to another power? Well, you multiply the powers. So if I have x to the 6 raised to the 10th, that'd be x to the 60th. If I have a product raised to a power, what do? You raise each term of that product to that power. So if I said x is 6, y to the 8th to the 4th, you'd raise both to the 4th power. And when you have a base to a power, you multiply the power. So it'd be x to the 24, y to the 32. Now, what do you do when you have a fraction to that power? Once again, you raise both to that power. So if I said 3/4 cubed, you'd say 3 cubed is 27. 4 cubed is 64. Or if I said x to the 6 over y to the 10th to the 3rd, you'd say cube this one, that'd be x to the 18th. Cube the bottom one, that'd be y to the 30th. Next one. Boy, have I got to sneeze. It's actually 3 parts. What do you do when you're dividing two things same base? Well, part 1, or A, if m equals n, the answer is 1. Because anything divided by itself is 1. X to the 6 divided by x to the 6 is 1. B, what if the bigger power's on top? So let's say I have x to the 10 divided by x to the 6. Well, 6 of these cancel with 6 of these. So it'd be x to the 4th. Or when you're dividing, you subtract the powers. So if the bottom power is bigger, Oop, it's 1 over x to the n minus m. So if I had x to the 6 over x to the 20th, you'd say it's 1 over x to the 14th. So if I have x to the 6, y to the 8th z over x squared, y to the 10th z, well, x is 6 divided by x squared would be x to the 4th. Y to the 8th goes in y to the 10th, it'd be y squared, and the z's cancel out. Hey, we're doing pretty good here. Well, thank you. Next one, if you have x to the 0 power, the answer is 1. Now, of course, x cannot be 0, because to prove it, you got to divide, and you can't divide by 0. So if I say 76 to the 0 power times 35, the answer would be 35. If I said x to the 6 to the 0, the answer is 1. And the last, I'm going to break it up in 2. I'm not sure if I did in the class or not, but what do you do when you have a negative power? Well, you've got to move it. We like to move it, move it. You like to move it, move it. So, negative power means move it. So if I have 3x to the negative 1, that is 3 over x. If I have x to the negative 3 over x to the 10th, the negative power means move it. So it'd be 1 over x cubed x10, and the answer would be 1 over x to the 13th. Well, I hope you have these memorized. When do you do what? This is part 1. Part 2, please watch 2.